a sudden I'm in the white light. I'm at Heaven's Gate, but I'm outside of the gate. It's this beautiful golden gate. Nobody's here. Where's everybody at? I'm alone. And as soon as I thought that, I seen my dad in the distance.
This is Touched by Heaven. Everyday encounters with God. Those moments when heaven and earth collide. And we see God, we see His hand reaching out to us, attempting to get our attention, inviting us into a closer relationship. So here we share these angel stories and divine interventions and prophetic dreams, visions, near-death experiences, and we've got another one in this week's episode amongst a lot of other things. There are so many surprises that just keep coming out of left field in this episode with Jackie. I love this, and you will too. You'll love this. Okay, so this morning I was listening to someone talking about the role of a father. My job as a dad is to show my children the Father, our Heavenly Father. There should be some sort of similarities between me and God the Father. Oh, yeah. We're like twins. but we try, right? That's the idea. We try. Last week, this feels like a kind of an extension with all those puzzle pieces from last week. One of the puzzle pieces was the ABBA song that's been playing in my head, still is. It's called Chiquitita. If you spiritualize Abba, that's Father. So we think here God the Father. And the song is about consoling a little girl, young girl. So like I say, that song is still playing there, but then I started getting this other song today, and it's music from the movie Home Alone. Yeah, Macaulay Culkin, remember that? And it's, Kevin is left behind at home, and the whole big family travels off to Europe and doesn't know Kevin's left behind as he fends for himself against the bad guys. And then, of course, they all get to Europe, and they go, wait, where's Kevin? And who's the first to get back to Kevin? Mom. Well, isn't that interesting? We're going from father to mother.
I always wondered about it because I was raised Baptist. I said something like, Mother Mary, I don't even know if I'm supposed to pray to you. Could you please give me a sign that I'm supposed to?
And this is where it gets really interesting with Jackie.
Hi, how are you?
Where are you originally from? I note a dialect.
Columbus, Ohio.
Ah, yes, the famous Columbus, Ohio dialect.
Yeah.
Really?
I don't know. I've been in New York for I want to say 25 years.
Yeah, it's in there. Trust me, it's in there.
Yeah?
Yeah. Faith in the home, yes, no?
Yes. I was raised in a Baptist church until I was about 12 years old. And my father didn't go to church. He was a pretty bad alcoholic. And then after that, I went to live with my mom, and I ended up in foster care, group homes, just really bad situations.
May I ask what caused that?
She moved place to place and man to man. And I believe my aunt had eventually called Child Protective Services, and my mom just signed her rights over.
Yeah. God bless her. She's still with us?
No, I lost her. I lost both of my parents.
Did you?
Yeah.
You don't sound that old.
44.
You're not that old. Yeah, you're not that old. Well, married now?
Engaged 16 years.
You've been engaged 16 years?
When I was 16, I got pregnant and I got married, and we stayed married even after we separated. I couldn't afford a divorce for the longest time. He couldn't. And then he started fighting the divorce and didn't want to sign the papers, was asking for a bunch of money from me that I didn't have just because he didn't have money. And just, it was a crazy situation. So getting divorced now, got the lawyer, and hopefully getting married soon.
Oh, wow. Boy. How did you find the podcast?
Actually, I was looking for sermons, and when I came across yours, I couldn't believe it, because I remember the one of the first ones I heard was somebody telling their near death experience, and I was like, oh my gosh, there's more people out there, and I was hooked ever since. It's been a couple years.
You're the first thing you heard was something you yourself have experienced.
Yes, I think that was God just telling me he made that happen, because I really needed that. And I needed to know I wasn't alone. When I was 16, I got pregnant and I was hemorrhaging. And so I was rushed to the hospital, and I was rushed. They was going to do emergency C-section. And during the C-section, I lost so much blood that I went into shock, and then my heart had stopped. And it was like I woke up in this golden light. Trapper, this, I can tell you this whole experience. I can tell you word from word, everything that happened. But the most important thing that I got from it was the light. I was in this beautiful light. And later I realized it was the light of peace that came from Jesus. And when I was in there, I was going up. And at the top I could see this bright white light. And for a second I got scared. And then I heard this voice, "My child, you don't have to be scared." And I entered this white light, and it was the light of love. And it took me, for years after this experience, I was searching for these lights. And I mean, even to the point where I was trying to buy light bulbs that would match these lights, because these lights were so important. And I needed to have that in my life again.
Well, let's go back. I want you to go through every piece that you remember of this, and I imagine you remember everything, because these kinds of things
Oh,
just
yeah.
they don't fade much. They don't fade.
No.
So how many years ago was this?
This was 19.
19 years ago?
Yep.
Okay. So, and you were having a C-section at the time.
Yes.
Okay. That worked out okay? You got your baby?
Yeah, everything worked out perfect.
Okay. Got a 19-year-old now? Okay.
Yeah.
Let's take us through everything you remember.
All of a sudden I heard the doctor saying she's losing too much blood, and they called for blood.
And you could hear the doctor say this.
I was awake.
Okay.
They had only numbed me. She said she's losing too much blood, and she had the nurse call for blood, and all of a sudden I was out. And I just woke up in this beautiful golden light, and it was just peace. I felt such peace.
What are you seeing at that time?
I'm seeing flashes of my childhood. And I wasn't like scared. Like I knew this light, like it was familiar to me. I knew the light. And I was seeing these flashes of different things in my childhood. And I can remember only a couple of them, like my dad having me help him wash the car, um, me and my dad walking down the street, going to the store. I can remember a couple, but I can't remember them all. But it was like so fast, but so slow at the same time. It was just flashes of just my childhood. It wasn't when I got older. It was just my childhood when I was a little girl.
Was there a theme to it?
I never thought about that. But yeah, it was, everything with it was I was with my dad.
Mm.
And that makes sense to me because I was always with my dad. And I have a lot of hurt with my dad also. He was my hero. I had no friends, but he ended up really hurting me.
Do you want to go into that? I mean, in what ways?
He ended up molesting me.
I'm sorry.
And thank you. And that's what ended up me wanting to go live with my mother, because he was my hero for all these years, and I had no friends. But then that happened, and I had to leave. And I called my mom to, go live with her.
And he was your biological dad?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And, I never put that together until now. Maybe that was something because I knew I needed to heal from that, maybe.
Yeah. And
because he was the one person I seen when I got to heaven.
Oh, okay. We'll get there in a second here.
Yeah.
So is this something that would happen when he was drinking, and he was drinking a lot, or what was going on?
Well, it happened one time, and he always drank a lot, Trapper, from morning to night. He ended up passing away of cirrhosis of the liver.
Okay.
So, but it happened the one time, and then I don't know why, and it's the weirdest. I think I used to pee the bed. I would sleep in the same room with my sister, and then my grandmother made me start sleeping with my father because he could change the sheets in the morning, and she didn't want to deal with it, I guess.
And that's when all that nonsense
And that's,
began.
yeah.
Okay, so you're getting these flashes, and they're all with Dad. Good moments.
Yeah. Yeah. They were good moments.
Okay, so so they're showing you the goodness of your dad.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. This is making so much sense to me that I didn't even think of before. That's wild.
Yeah.
And then after the flashes, I seen at the top of this light was this bright white light. And I started getting closer to it. And the closer I got, I felt afraid because I couldn't see what was there. And when I felt afraid, I heard this voice telling me, my child, you don't have to be afraid. And then all the, every ounce of me being scared just went away.
This voice, has your interpretation been God the Father or Jesus or what?
It was love. It was a voice that I knew, but
Hmm.
not in this world.
That's a good way of putting it. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. What I got from the voice is it was my real father. Not my father here, but my real father, my protector, that's what it was.
Hmm. Okay.
The protector, the more of what a father should be, a
Hmm.
father is supposed to be. So I would say definitely a father.
Yeah. Nice. That's beautiful. Okay.
All of a sudden I'm in the white light, and I'm at Heaven's Gate, but I'm outside of the gate. I'm not in there yet.
Do you see a gate? Is there actual gate?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes. It's this beautiful golden gate, and but I can't go through it, and I know that. But I know this place where I'm at. I'm very familiar with it. And I look around and I think nobody's here. Where's everybody at? I'm alone. And as soon as I thought that, I seen my dad in the distance. And so I woke up to him, and Trapper, he was a very sick man. He had he had to get fluid drained out of his stomach. His stomach would get huge with fluid from the disease and everything. And when I seen him, he looked like he was in his 30s. He looked healthy. He looked completely healed.
Where was he? Inside the gate?
Just feet from me. He was outside the gate.
Okay, he was outside also,
Yes.
but he was there.
And he was there. And I remember for years I wondered, and I would always say, like, when I prayed, Lord, I forgive him. Please don't let him go to hell. Like, I was always concerned about that because I know that the disease can make people do things that they really wouldn't do if they wasn't drunk or.
Yeah. And can I tell you how huge your prayer is on where he is? Can I tell you how huge it is of our prayers and the effect it has on souls? It's come up before on these episodes. We have an impact,
Yes. Yeah.
on those who have gone on because of your forgiveness. That gives him a boost.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
horrible. I mean, it's horrible what he did. We're
Yeah.
not saying it was okay, but we're just God is merciful.
And so when I seen him, my first thought was, you're here, you made it. And I knew that then he did make it to heaven, and he's not in hell, and he was forgiven.
Or he's outside the gates, shall we say.
Yeah,
Within the
yeah,
Catholic faith, we would say perhaps he's in purgatory. Maybe he's in heaven. I don't know. I'm not sure, but the fact that he was outside the gates may say something, maybe a clue to that.
yeah, yeah. He said to me, I wasn't expecting you. It's not your time. If I knew you was coming, I would have been here to greet you.
Your dad said that?
Yeah. And I thought, okay. He said, but it's not your time. And he said, you have to go back. And I just remember being sad and feeling, I don't want to leave. I feel so good. I don't want to leave. And I said, what if I don't want to leave? And he said, I have to ask. And all of a sudden he was gone. And then he came back. And so I guess he was asking permission or something. I'm not sure. And he said, you don't have to leave, but I want you to look down at yourself. And he made me look down at myself. And I seen my son there. And Trapper, this was the hardest decision I've ever had to make, ever. And I remember I seen them shock me one time, trying to get my heart to start up again. And then the doctor had said, turn it up to make it stronger.
They got the defib machine on you?
Yes, yes.
Did you verify this later, by the way?
Yes, I did. I sure did.
Wow. Okay. Okay. I bet they were shocked.
They they was very. But they said, the lady that I talked to, she said this ain't the first time.
Oh, that
And
she's been a
so,
witness to that?
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then they did it the one time. And when they went to go do it the second time, I remember thinking, I want to go back. And as soon as I thought that, I felt them shock me. I felt them put the paddles on me, and I was back. Just like that.
Because of your son?
Yeah. Yeah.
How old was he at the time?
Newborn.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
We're talking about
Yeah.
that son. We're talking about the
Yeah.
new. Excuse me, I forgot we left you on the on the delivery table.
Yeah.
So that was when you were 16?
Yeah.
Wow. Boy, that's a lot for a 16-year-old. That's a lot to pack into the first 16 years of your life.
You know what, though, Trapper? I feel like if it didn't happen, I think things just happen the way they're meant to happen sometimes. And if it wasn't for me being in church when I was younger and my grandparents forcing that on me, and these experiences that I have had, I can't imagine where I'd be.
You have a beautiful heart. You really do.
Thank you.
You can hear it. You can hear it.
Oh, thank you.
Anything else about that experience you want to talk about? What did you feel?
Love. I felt peace and love like I've never felt. And Trapper, the Bible says that God is the light,
Yep.
and the light, the golden light. It took me years to realize this. Maybe 4 years ago, I was reading the Bible, and all of a sudden, like I could feel. It felt like Jesus was talking to me, and he's saying like, "I am the light," and it just clicked. That golden light is God, and that's God's. That's the Lord's peace, the light of peace, and the bright white light was His love, and in heaven it shines everywhere.
Yeah, it doesn't
And
get dark up there. The lights never go off.
yeah,
And he is the
and
light of the world. He said it. I am the light of the
yeah,
world. And so are you. I mean, we're all the light of the world that are believers. Yeah.
yeah, and it made me realize like he's telling me you got to search for my light in this world. And that was very eye opening to me when that happened.
Let's pause right about here. Then more with Jackie here on Touched by Heaven, Everyday Encounters with God. Quick Patreon shout out. Thanks, Greg Munoz. Greg, part of our Patreon family that makes this all go week to week. And also thanks to Sheila Bookmer, who does the same. Why?
Keep doing what you're doing. That's why I support what you're doing. That it's so important to have these stories out there of everyday interactions. Everyday what how do you start your thing?
Everyday Encounters with God. Yeah.
Everyday encounters with God. In the Bible, we have the stories of, you name it, Abraham and Saul and David and Joseph, Mary, and now we have the stories of Susie and you name it, and it's relevant. These things are relevant in today's world. That's what gives me comfort.
Me too. It's the is now. I get the as it was in the beginning, but the is now is what makes it come to life for me too.
There was one. The woman was talking about the smell of roses is an indication of Mary, if I have that correct.
Right.
She said that, and I literally took a step, smelled roses. I smelled roses, took another step, and walked out of that scent field. It's those personal things, because I'm experiencing those personal things, and these stories need to get out. Hopefully, you'll continue for years to come, and the more you hear, I just think it's more powerful, and more it strengthens those of us listening, and the more we can get it out there across this world, hopefully the better this world will be.
Thank you. Just go to patreon.com and search for Trapper Jack, or come here to this episode and just click your way through. Thank you so much. Now let's get back to Jackie and Touched by Heaven, Everyday Encounters with God. I love it, your dad saying, look down. And there you see, do you see at that point, has your child been delivered yet? They got all kinds of things going on with you.
Yes.
So you're like running out of blood, and your son is being born, and your heart is like failing. I mean, it's just all kinds of stuff going on at the same time.
But I knew I knew I had to go back. There's so much more I need to experience in this life. Honestly, Chopper, your podcast has helped me in so many ways. I wouldn't have other experiences that I've had if it wasn't for your podcast.
Are you saying the podcast helped cause experiences?
Yes, it gave me experiences through prayers. I know that you guys are Catholic, and a lot of people that's on your podcast is Catholic. And I always wondered about it because I was raised Baptist. And so I decided one day I was doing DoorDash and I didn't have no deliveries, and I was in a parking lot, and I decided I felt like I needed to pray. And so I said something like, Mother Mary, I don't even know if I'm supposed to pray to you. I don't know if this is right or not, but could you please give me a sign that I'm supposed to? And later that evening, I was just looking out the window, and all of a sudden I was in heaven. And I was this little girl, and I was dancing. Jesus was standing there, and I was dancing in the light that was coming off of him. And I feel like my takeaway from that was, if it wasn't for Mary, there would be no Jesus.
She kind of played a role. She kind of played a role.
She knew what she was doing with that one, because it really woke me up.
You know, and the beauty about Jesus, the Son of God, through whom all things were made, got to make his own mom, which is kind of cool when you think about it.
Isn't it amazing?
Got to make her perfect, man. Got to make her perfect. It's great. So I think that was a beautiful sign for you. What else comes to mind?
Trapper, that will lead me to the next experience if you want to hear.
Yeah.
Ever since listen, this is so crazy to me, but ever since I said the prayer to Mother Mary, I've had experiences where it's like I'm being tucked into heaven and I'm being shown things. And the one that I was shown, there was a couple, but the one that really sticks out to me is I was a little girl, and I was standing there with a couple other kids, and Jesus was telling us we get to pick our life, the life that we're going to have. And there was there was options, and everybody could pick whatever one. It was a happy family, it was a broken up family, but you have money, and it was a hard life. Like, one of the choices was you're going to have a hard life, but every life had a lesson to it. And the last one was the hardest lesson of life. And I ended up choosing that one. And Jesus had said to me, "Are you sure?" And I said, "Yes." And he said, "What made you want to choose that one?" And I said, "I feel like I'm supposed to have the biggest lesson." And so I chose this life where you have a broken family. You don't have that much money, but you survive. And he said to me, "I have good news. The first part of your life is going to be very hard, but the second part of your life is going to be so much better." And Trapper, it has been. I've went through so much in my life. I was in the streets. I was prostituting. I was a lost soul. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's more than okay. This isn't easy. You did, boy. As I said, how old were you then?
This was well up until I met my fiance 16 years ago. I was
So from what age to what age?
I think like 20, somewhere around in there. And then I met my fiance, and Trapper, I prayed for him too. I prayed for him.
Before you met him?
Before I met him,
Yeah.
I I begged God one night. I said, Lord, this can't be what you have for me. I know this ain't what you have for me. I don't need the money. I don't need this great big life. I just want to live my life with my soulmate, a good man, and I want to live with where I put you in my life. And I tell you, Chopper, if it wasn't for God, I don't know where I'd be.
So between 20 and what, 28?
Yeah, somewhere around
You
in
were on the
there.
street. And the first time, I mean, when it began, you needed the money, obviously.
Yeah, yeah.
That first time had to be horrible.
Oh, it was horrible every time. You just you try to get used to it, but you can't. And I wasn't on drugs. And a lot of people, they would say, "Oh, she's on drugs," but I wasn't on drugs. And I think it'd probably make it easier.
Yeah. So you meet the guy that you,
I meet him in the store, and
okay.
Trapper, he wouldn't be the normal person for me. And it was
He didn't look like your dream guy.
well, he's very handsome, but I usually went for the bad guys and the terrible. But when I seen it, I don't know how to explain it. It was as if the Lord was telling me, "This is the one. This is the one." And I couldn't leave him alone. I knew that he was the one.
In the store?
Yes, we ended up talking. I got his number and I pursued him.
Good for you.
We just started talking. I don't know how it happened, but we just started talking and we exchanged numbers. And I just kept calling him and he would call me.
And there's
Yeah,
something about this guy.
I'm telling you, it was the Lord.
In the moment, are you thinking it's the Lord?
Not No,
Okay.
no. I couldn't understand. I couldn't like it wasn't like me to like approach somebody or anything like that.
And this
It's
guy
like,
looked too nice.
yeah, he looked very nice, very good. He's a very good guy. He's not the what I would expect I would end up with at all.
Yeah.
And
God bless God. You know, it's one of those God bless God things. Now,
it
now,
is.
can I ask? And I don't mean to play voyeur and all this stuff. I'm sorry, but you are just interesting. You're just so interesting.
Oh,
Um, so at some point, you have to say, "Well, here's what I've been doing, but I don't wanna." I mean, how does that conversation go? And
you know, Trapper. I'm in a little town, so everybody that would see me, they knew what I was doing. So when I had said it to him, eventually he said he already knew, but he didn't stop wanting to talk to me. And I found that to be not normal because usually, you know, they'd say, "Oh well, okay, here's a good guy, and he don't want nothing to do with you." Then, um, but I think it was just God working what His magic and doing what He had planned.
yeah, that's just beautiful. It's beautiful.
I mean, Chopper, I've been. God said the second half of my life would be so much easier. And I tell you, this man he's been a dream and he's shown me the love that I never thought I could have. And he's my best friend. And it's because of the Lord.
You know, God doesn't think like we do. You know, it says it in the Bible, and He just doesn't think like we do. And the dream you had, which basically, do you take that dream you had where you're talking to Jesus about what's about to happen? So, do you believe that dream, or whatever you want to call it, vision, actually took place before you were born?
Yes. Yes.
Is it still really, really clear? Isn't fading that kind of dream?
No, it's very clear.
Yeah, more of a
It's ve-
vision thing that's stuck.
it's it's so clear.
Yeah.
So clear.
Says something. That says something. And the fact, and of course, you're outside time, you're outside space. We have a different mind when we're sitting in heaven.
I was here, but I was there at the
Yeah,
same time.
yeah. But you're taken to a time when you're totally. This isn't a reality yet for you, and you're choosing it.
Yeah, yeah. There was another experience if you want to hear
Yeah.
it. I was, again, I think I was in my car and I was sitting in a parking lot waiting to do DoorDash. And I think I was listening to your podcast. And I don't know, all of a sudden, I was sliding. I wasn't reading my Bible. I stopped praying. I stopped doing everything. And all of a sudden, I was in heaven again. And Jesus was on top of this big hill. And I was at the bottom, and he was reaching his hand down to me. And nothing was said, nothing else happened. But what I get from that is it was him reminding me, hey, I'm here. Take my hand. You forgot about me. Um, and it also reminded me because I was thinking, like, where's my life going at this time? I was like, where's my life going? What's going to happen in my life? Everything seems the same. And I think it was him telling me, I'm always ahead of you. I'm always preparing the way for you. Don't give up your faith.
Well, he adores you. He adores
Oh,
us all, but I'm
he,
just, he's just, you're connected.
I've been getting this word chosen,
Mm,
and I feel like, yes, he's the chosen one, but I feel like we're all chosen,
we
you
are.
know?
It's funny you say that. I just had this same hit either today or yesterday. Same thing, how we're chosen for big things, little things, whatever, but we're chosen. He
Yeah,
chose us. He came looking for us first, found.
that's so important to know. It's so important. It's such a big deal to know that he chose us.
Yeah.
Oh.
I agree. I agree. What do you do for work now?
I'm a digital creator. I make digital planners.
Huh. For who? Or your own company or what is?
It's for Etsy, where people go on and they can buy them, and
Oh, you make them. You do create them on Etsy.
yeah,
Oh. Well, give yourself a plug. How do they find you?
creating with Jacqueline on Etsy.
Okay. Okay. And it's a digital, so it's a physical thing.
It's a digital planner where you can use on like an iPad, a computer, your phone.
Okay. So
Instead of,
do you download it?
yeah, it's a digital file and you download it and you can use it on like, you have to have an app called Good Notes and it's free. And then you can write in it, you can do all kinds of stuff with it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay.
Awesome. Thank you.
Sure. Sure. Okay. Where to next?
I don't know. I think that's all. I,
There's
I
going to
was
be more for you. I know it.
Trapper, I was so nervous about this, and I said a prayer just asking God to just calm my nerves. And I tell you, it's like talking to a friend right now.
Oh, you are. You
I
know,
really appreciate it.
I'm just catching up. You've known me for what, a couple of years, so I'm just catching up
Yeah.
here. That's all. No, no, you're a delight. You're a delight. And as Jesus
Oh,
told you, tough in the beginning, but again, there's a goodness about your dad that he was wanting you to see, and that's come up a number of times in near-death experiences where Jesus kind of shows what he sees. Yeah, there's the bad stuff and all that, but he shows what he sees, and that's what he was doing. He was showing you what he sees, the goodness in the man.
yeah. And, I prayed for him so much, and I really needed that. And it changed my life to see that,
Yeah.
to see him and everything. So,
Yeah, and he was dealing with a disease, and we have to remember that
oh,
too.
yeah.
It's not just this weakness, it's a disease.
My grandfather at church every Sunday, the preacher would say, if you have a prayer, stand up and then, you could tell him your prayer and everybody will pray for you. And every Sunday he would pray for my dad to stop drinking. And I remember it so clearly. But I tell you, me seeing my grandfather have that faith in the Lord, I mean, I can't tell you what an impact that had on me as an adult. Like, you don't see it when you're a kid, but when you get older, like, I know that God showed me that for a reason.
Yeah.
Like, God let me remember that for a reason because it's really impacted me.
What's your prayer life like? What do you do?
Oh, I pray all the time, all day. I'll be doing dishes and I'll pray. I love prayer. I just feel
You
so,
just talk to him?
I just like a friend,
Yeah, that's the way
like
to
a
do
friend.
it.
Yeah. I feel so connected to him in prayer, and I have such faith in him.
Oh, he smiles on you. He's smiling on you. Well, this has been awesome. What's our takeaway in the big picture here, Jacqueline?
I would have to say, my takeaway would be look for the Lord's light. I think without him, you're just chasing everything of the world, and it's so empty. It's so empty without him.
Amen.
Amen.
You're a delight. You're a delight.
I hope it reaches somebody.
I guarantee you. Thanks, Jackie. Your guy, his name is Ed, by the way, is so lucky to have you.
It was as if the Lord was telling me, this is the one. This is the one.
I go to so many stories in the Bible. Jesus meeting the woman at the well, and seeing her heart and the transformation. There's a past, but there's a future, I think of, the Pharisees looking over at Jesus. Who's he dining with, Why is he over at that table? And as opposed to sitting with the stony-hearted Pharisees, right? So many things just kept coming out of left field in this episode. And it was just, Jackie, you're just the best. You are just the best and deserve the best. That we have, yes, a heavenly Father, but we have Jesus' mom there too. Once an earthly mom, but now a heavenly mom. Just look at Jackie and look at the results. Beautiful. All right, what is your story? Let me know here at touchedbyheaven.net. Thanks for your Patreon support and your kind words.
Hopefully you'll continue for years to come, and the more we can get it out there across this world, hopefully the better this world will be.
Patreon.com and search for Trapper Jack or come here to this episode. All right, we'll see you next week here on Touched by Heaven, Everyday Encounters with God. I'm Trapper Jack, always with the reminder, look for your signs.
Could you please give me a sign that I'm supposed to?